The high beauty woman in that street interview is actually my newlywed wife. The reporter asked, "Beautiful lady, what do you think is the purpose of earning money?" My wife replied, "To spend on my husband." The reporter asked again, "What if your husband and your mother fell ill at the same time? Who would you take care of first?" That very night, my mother-in-law was dragged out for a run by my wife. Well, my wife is truly hopelessly in love. Above is the version outsiders saw, but below is the actual reality. When I forwarded that interview video to Lu Ruyan, I even attached 3 heart emojis. She replied with a single word, "Scram." I sent another message, "Wife, were you being sincere with what you said in the interview?" She immediately replied with 2 words, "Shut up." I pressed further, "Then why did you drag mom out for a run?" She replied with 4 words, "Say more, blocked." The word count increased, but her attitude decreased. Yet, I noticed a detail: she replied to every single message instantly. Lu Ruyan is the type of person who wouldn't even bother typing him 4 things she doesn't care about. When I got home that night, Lu Ruyan was watching a variety show on the sofa. I walked over wanting to talk to her, but she just pointed to the kitchen. "The rice is in the cooker, scoop it yourself." She didn't even spare me a glance. It was as if the person who said those sweet words during the interview earlier today wasn't her at all. The beautiful woman handing flowers to her husband in the footage was not the same person as her. I brought my bowl and sat next to him to eat. When he changed the channel, I commented that this show looked pretty good, but he snapped back, "Just mind your own food." I tried again, saying, "During your interview today." He slammed the remote control onto the sofa and snapped, "The interview on the 10th was just casual talk." I just answered whatever the reporter asked. "If you bring it up again, I'll dump this bowl right on your head." I shut my mouth, but I noticed something. He changed channels 4 times, and each time he deliberately skipped the exact same channel. That channel was broadcasting a compilation of short clips from that interview. He was avoiding it, and someone who truly didn't care wouldn't need to try so hard to avoid it. At 2 in the morning, I got up to use the bathroom. Passing by the living room, I noticed the television was still on. Lu Ruyan was curled up in the corner of the sofa, hugging his knees to his chest with his chin resting on them. On the screen was that interview video. The progress bar was almost at the end, but then he reached out and dragged it back to the beginning to watch it all over again. I stood in the hallway watching him for 3 seconds before quietly retreating back to the bedroom. Right, just casual talk. If it was just casual talk, why didn't you just watch it once without dragging it back? Meanwhile, that video was becoming more and more viral. My mother called 3 times just to praise her daughter-in-law. My mother-in-law also sent 2 voice messages. "Ru Yan has been like this since she was a child. She has a sharp tongue but remembers everything in her heart. Please be patient with her." Most of the comment section was praising Lu Ruyan's beauty, while a few praised my good fortune. There were also a few comments like, "What are this guy's credentials? Is he even worthy? Love-brained girls usually have terrible taste. Wake up, sister, you deserve someone better." I didn't care all that much, to be honest. Seeing those comments, my first reaction was, "Quite right, even I feel my luck is unreasonably good." The next day at work, He Chang shoved his phone right in front of my face. He Chang has this trait: the more you don't want to know something, the more he insists on notifying you first. Last time he notified me that the cafeteria prices rose by 2 yuan, and the time before that, he notified me that the company restroom ran out of toilet paper. This time, his notification was exceptionally excited. "Brother Hao, a war has broken out under your wife's interview video." I said, "Get a grip. What does that have to do with me?" There's an account fighting 1 versus 7 in the comments section, cursing them out so smoothly like flowing water. You have to see this. Reluctantly, I took the phone, and then I didn't give it back. Recently, a passerby account named Feng Qingyin Dan has been replying to every single comment saying that I don't deserve him. His words are extremely sharp, his logic is clear, and he even provides analytical data. When someone commented that her husband looked average, he replied with a long paragraph. His core argument was that he belongs to the type who looks better the more you look at him. At first glance, he might not be stunning, but the more you look, the more pleasing he becomes. He even mocked that the other person's aesthetic was still stuck in the internet celebrity face phase and suggested they upgrade their taste. Someone said her husband clearly has no future, so he directly listed a series of concrete examples. From what time I worked overtime, what projects I currently have in hand, to how many times I helped colleagues on duty. These extremely detailed, intimate details are things that no one could possibly know unless they were the person sharing a bed with me every single day. Another person said this girl is so infatuated that she will regret it sooner or later. He coldly replied with one sentence, her husband himself feels he is not good enough for her, is that any of your business? I stared at that last sentence for over 10 seconds, then quietly clicked on his profile. The first thing I discovered was that he only appeared under posts related to me. He acted as professional as a customer service representative. What's more, he is the type who charges no fee, works year-round without a break, and stays online 24 hours a day. I scrolled down to check his comment history. In one of his replies, I caught a familiar phrasing. He scolded someone for having water in their brain. Like water-soaked cotton, my hand froze. Water-soaked cotton, this was the nickname Lu Ruyan and I gave to her winter melon soup. The first time she stewed it and brought it to the table, she looked incredibly proud. I took a sip and, to be honest, the texture of the winter melon felt exactly like water-soaked cotton. She chased me around the living room for 3 laps, grabbing the remote control and almost smashing the television. She didn't speak to me during that meal, but the next day she stewed another pot. It still tasted like cotton, but I didn't dare say it. There were only 2 people in the world who knew this inside joke, me and the woman who chased me for 3 laps with a remote control. I exited the homepage and handed the phone back to Yi Chang. Pretty spectacular, I said. My voice was calm, but my heart was anything but. Yi Chang was still laughing. Brother Hao, are you really not curious who this person is? With such strong combat power, they must be a relative of yours, right? I said, I don't know. He said, should I reply and ask? Don't. I blurted out almost instantly. Why? Because if you ask, your sister-in-law might give you a scolding too. With your combat strength, you probably won't last 2 rounds. No, a round and a half. I didn't say it out loud, but just waved my hand. They're helping me speak up, so don't go disturbing them. Yi Chang glanced at me, his expression strange. Brother Hao, do you happen to know who this person is? No, I don't, I replied. Your face is turning red, Yi Chang added. It's just hot, I retorted. After Yi Chang left, I sat at my workstation for a long time. There was only one thought spinning in my mind. Lu Ruyan is fighting for me online. Lu Ruyan is fighting for me online. Lu Ruyan, the very same person who always said to my face, you're so annoying, are you sick, or shut up? Yet, in a place where I couldn't see, she wrote an 800-word essay to prove how good I am. She never said anything good about me to my face. I really need some time to process this massive amount of information. When I got home, Lu Ruyan was sitting on the sofa scrolling through her phone. She didn't even look up when I walked in, only saying, you're back. Yeah, I responded. Dinner is in the pot. I know. Our daily conversations consisted of only these few lines, as brief and concise as telegrams. She saved up all her desire to express herself, gathered it into an 800-word essay, and posted it in a stranger's comment section. My face-to-face quota is just 2 words, while a stranger's online quota is 800 words. Should I feel jealous? I sat nearby pretending to watch TV, but in reality, I was using my phone to scroll through the comment history of calm and casual passerby. The more I scrolled, the more unbelievable it became. This account. It has existed for much longer than I imagined. The comment section holds an entire memorial dedicated to me, detailed in content and overflowing with emotion, enough to publish a book titled What's So Great About Brother Hao, a fieldwork report by an anonymous wife. I picked a few comments to read. Someone casually remarked, Brother Hao is a nice guy, but he doesn't really have any shining points. She immediately replied with an 800-word essay. Her core argument was that his shining points are invisible to superficial people like them. 800 words, with numbered subpoints, concrete examples cited, and even transitional sentences. My wife has never written me a love letter that long. Wait, she has never written me a love letter at all. Yet she wrote an 800-word essay for a random stranger online. For me, the longest message she ever sent was last month, a shopping link with the note, "Buy, just one word." I feel there is quite a massive information gap here. In another post, someone casually mentioned, "Brother, how's cooking is decent?" She instantly replied, "Just decent?" His stir-fried tomatoes and eggs is the best I've ever eaten. I turned my head to look at Lu Ruyan on the sofa. Yesterday, when eating the stir-fried tomatoes and eggs I made. When eating scrambled eggs with tomatoes, her actual words were "SOSO, just SOSO." But online, she posted it was the best she had ever eaten. In person it's SOSO, Ms. Lu Ruyan. Has your personality split into sides A and B? Side A is for the netizens, while side B is for me. Can you spare a little sweetness for the real world? Then, I stumbled upon that post titled, "My Husband's 100 Merits." I thought it was a joke post, but when I clicked in to look, every single one was true. The 7th merit, the scrambled eggs with tomatoes he cooks are truly delicious. This perfectly matches the comment from just now. Lu Ruyan, in person you say it's a so-so, but behind my back you say it's the best. Your double standards are well organized and premeditated. The 23rd merit, the way he sneezes is like a startled cat. I felt insulted, but after thinking about it for 3 seconds, it actually seems to be true. The 41st merit, every time before going out, he always helps me check if there are keys in my bag, but he never says it. I know it, and I always thought I did it very discreetly. Every time, I would sneakily check his bag while he was changing his shoes. Could it be that he has been pretending not to know all along? The 56th merit, he never rushes me to get out of bed, always places breakfast on the nightstand, and then gently closes the door. Was she not asleep every time? After my dad set up breakfast, he even specifically closed the door to a crack and tiptoed around. She was pretending to sleep. How long had she been pretending? Rule number 63, her nose turns red like a strawberry when she eats spicy food. A strawberry? Lu Ruyan, you secretly call me a strawberry behind my back. I don't know whether to be happy or to call the police. Rule number 71, when she gets angry, she takes a deep breath before speaking, a habit that makes me feel very secure. My hand stopped for a long time when I saw this 71st rule. I didn't know he had noticed this, even I hadn't realized it was a habit. He noticed it, and not only did he notice it, but he also felt reassured by it. Then I looked up at the sofa. Lu Ruyan was currently using her toes to poke the remote control to change channels, muttering, "Why isn't there even a decent variety show to watch?" The woman who wrote 100 of my strengths online is now using her toes to change channels. The contrast is so huge that I doubt the very mechanism of the universe. I silently went to the kitchen to pour her a cup of water. When she took it, she glanced at me. Why the sudden hospitality? Nothing. I sat back on the sofa. She didn't know I had just finished reading her essay on my 100 strengths, and she also didn't know. Only when the weight of this water glass suddenly grew much heavier did I realize it. On the second day, I initiated a project named Secret Pressure Test of the Tsundere System. The goal was to test to what extent Lu Ruyan's duplicity, being sharp-tongued but soft-hearted, could actually hold out. Test 1, Verbal Stimulation. In the morning before heading out, I intentionally remarked, "You look quite beautiful wearing this outfit today." Lu Ruyan glared at me and snapped, "Are you sick?" With that, she grabbed her bag and headed out early in the morning. I watched her walk toward the entryway. However, after taking only 3 steps, she suddenly stopped and turned back. She changed her shoes, went into the bedroom, and when she emerged 2 minutes later, she had not only changed her footwear but had also applied another layer of lipstick. Her mouth claimed I was sick, yet her actions added more lipstick. Analyzing this, the input was praise, the verbal output was denial, and the behavioral output was acceptance, a systematic contradiction. Conclusion of Test 1, there is a bug in the system. Recalling our relationship from the very beginning until now, she seems to have always been this way. I once said, "I miss you." She replied, childish, yet she immediately replied to my messages back and forth until 2 in the morning. I asked, what do you want for your birthday? She said she didn't want anything. When I actually didn't give her anything on her birthday, she gave me the cold shoulder for an entire week. Then I said, marry me. She grumbled, can't you be a bit more serious with your proposal? Yet, on the very next day, she dragged me to get our marriage certificate. For Lu Ruyan, her rule of life seems to consist of only 8 words: duplicitous mouth, honest body. Today, I am ready to officially present the test report of this system bug, titled, Stimulating Substance. 2 days ago, I bought a dress that she had looked at online many times but never purchased. I brought it home and placed it on the sofa. Seeing her glance at it as she walked by, I felt she must like it. Lu Ruyan glanced at it, frowned, and asked, how much was it? I quoted a number, and she pushed the dress aside, saying, what a waste of money. At noon the next day, He Chang poked his head over from his office desk and said, Brother Hao, sister-in-law is wearing a new dress today. I just saw it on Moments. Look, she even posted this selfie. I was stunned and asked, since when did you add her as a friend? He Chang replied righteously, she added me on your wedding day. She said if there is an emergency at the office and she can't reach you, she can ask me. Brother Hao, don't tell me you forgot about this? I remained silent. So that was how it was. While Lu Ruyan called me crazy, she had actually added my colleague to her emergency contact list a long time ago. I tapped on the phone that He Chang handed over. On Lu Ruyan's Moments was a selfie of her wearing that waste of money dress, paired with, the weather is quite nice today. In the 9-grid photo post, the first 4 pictures are all different angles of the skirt, and the 5th picture is the sky outside the window, which is probably the so-called weather. She complains about wasting money, yet she wears it to work and even posts a 9-grid photo. The input is recognized as a polite gift, the mouth outputs a rejection, but the whole body outputs so good. Conclusion of test 2, the bug has expanded. I suddenly remembered that night, when my mother-in-law was dragged out to jog, what did Lu Ruyan say back then? Mom, you lack exercise lately, let's go jogging. Mother-in-law asked, what are you crazy about in the middle of the night? Lu Ruyan replied, health preservation. Now I understand. The reporter asked if your husband and mother got sick at the same time, who would you take care of first? Her solution wasn't to choose one, but rather to make sure her mother didn't get sick in the first place. Just like that interview, she talks about health preservation, but what she actually does is eliminate the problem itself. Even her way of solving problems is so tsundere. Test 3, social media baiting. I had He Chang post a public update on a short video platform. Has Brother Hao gained weight recently? His face has rounded out a lot. He Chang looked completely bewildered when he posted it. Brother Hao, you are not even fat. Why did you post this? Scientific experiment, don't ask. Are you sure sister-in-law will see it? Not sure, that's why it's called an experiment. After posting, I poured a cup of coffee, opened the profile of calm and casual passerby, and started timing. 1 minute passed with no movement, 2 minutes remained quiet. By the 3rd minute, I began to wonder if she hadn't gone online today. But at 3 minutes and 52 seconds, calm and casual passerby suddenly appeared under He Chang's public post. She left a sharp comment, take a look in the mirror yourself before talking about others. 3 minutes and 52 seconds. My wife's response speed was faster than the fire department. He Chang instantly messaged me back, damn, who is this savage person? Brother Hao, do you know this account? I pretended to be calm and replied with a question mark. But in my heart, I thought, that is your sister-in-law. Your sister-in-law is standing up for your brother. 3 minutes and 52 seconds arriving instantly, efficiency maxed out. Conclusion of experiment 3, her online surveillance zone covers every single corner of my social circle. Ridiculous. He Chang still couldn't figure out who that account belonged to by the time we off work. He asked me 5 times in the group chat, is that calm and casual passerby guy your fan? I replied, probably. He exclaimed, holy crap, since when did you have a fan with such explosive combat power? Who says I don't have fans? Let me tell you, I actually have a die-hard fan, the extremely dedicated kind. This person helped me write an 800-word essay, listing 100 of my advantages. In just 3 minutes and 52 seconds, they could rush to any comments section badmouthing me to argue back. Too bad this fan is currently sitting on my sofa, using her toes to change channels on the TV. Mumbling to herself, she grumbles, "Why hasn't the takeout arrived yet?" This fan herself has absolutely no idea about her fan status. Test level 4, verification. It was when I deliberately created a small conflict. Having agreed to eat together, I intentionally arrived half an hour late. Lu Rian sat at the dining table with a long face without saying a word, not even reheating the food when it got cold. Yet, 2 sets of bowls and chopsticks were laid out. My chopsticks were rested on the edge of the bowl at a very precise angle, looking seriously arranged at first glance. Angry as she was, the chopsticks and bowl were still prepared for me. In my heart, I silently recorded another point. This probably counts as the 101st item. I sat down to apologize, but she ignored me. I sighed, then made a move, taking a slow, deep breath, intentionally doing exactly what was written in the 71st item. I observed her from the corner of my eye. Her eyes flashed for a moment, and her lips twitched slightly. The corner of her mouth twitched upward by less than a millimeter, then she quickly turned her head away. She didn't know I saw it, but I confirmed that she really noticed this small detail of mine. The 100 entries she wrote, every single one of them is true. It was not a literary creation, but an observation log spanning 4 years. I asked, "Are you still angry?" She said, "Just eat your food." I lowered my head and took a bite of rice. The food had gone cold, but everything she ordered was my favorite. Entry number 102, he casually mentioned once that he wanted to eat sweet and sour pork ribs, and she remembered it. I silently continued writing this list in my heart. Lying in bed that night, Lu Ruyan had already fallen asleep with her back turned to me. I opened my phone again to read entry number 71. When I turned off the screen, I smiled slightly, but this smile was different from before. Previously I found it amusing, but now my heart started to ache. How many things had this woman actually done for me in secret? Late at night, after Lu Ruyan was fast asleep, I was drawn as if by some mysterious force to click on the homepage of Calm and Casual Passerby again. This time I didn't look at the comments, what I saw was the registration date. 4 years ago, we were newly married, having dated for a year and a half. But actually, 4 years ago, we weren't even together yet. I stared at that registration date for a very long time. 4 years, meaning during the time I had not pursued her yet, and when she secretly liked me but refused to admit it. During the half year that I pursued her afterward, those days of being rejected by her time and again, those nights I sat under the dormitory wondering whether to give up or not, this account already existed. She rejected me while simultaneously going online to argue for my sake. What kind of logic, what kind of action, and what kind of mental state is this? I searched for the earliest comments, searching for a very long time. The dates on the screen gradually rolled backward like a time rewind. One of the earliest comments was under an anonymous post on the school forum, where someone casually mentioned, "Brother How is okay, he just has no future." Feng Qing Yin Dan replied with a very long paragraph, her words much more intense than all her subsequent comments. It was not her usual cold and precise style, but emotional and somewhat agitated, as if she had been genuinely angered. One sentence even used 3 exclamation marks, whereas Lu Ruyan usually wouldn't even bother to use a single one. I looked at the date of that comment, then opened my phone calendar to check back. That day was the 3rd time Lu Ruyan rejected me. During the day, she told me, "Brother How, stop chasing me, we are not meant for each other." When she said this, her expression was so indifferent that I thought she truly felt nothing at all. I sat on the dormitory balcony for an hour that day. My roommate asked me what was wrong. I said nothing, just wanted some fresh air. The winter balcony in the north was blowing winds at -10 degrees, my roommate looked at me as if looking at a fool. But that very night, while I was shivering on the balcony under the cold wind, seriously considering whether to give up, she was arguing with someone online to defend me. She pushed me away with one hand, yet pulled me close in a place I couldn't see. What kind of logic is this anyway? I had been chasing her for over half a year and had been rejected many times. During that period, I thought I was just unilaterally clinging to her. Every time I was rejected, I wondered if I should give up. A few times I was so close to actually giving up. Now I know, on the road where I thought I was walking alone, she was always right beside me, walking on the side I couldn't see. In the darkness, Lu Ruyan rolled over and placed her arm on me. Unconsciously, in her sleep, she leaned closer to me. I didn't move, afraid of waking her up. I was also afraid that once she woke up, she would turn back into that Lu Ruyan who always said, "You were so annoying." Because now I knew, behind that "you were so annoying" lay 100 virtues, a 4-year-old alt account, 3 exclamation marks, and a secret crush I knew absolutely nothing about. I spent the entire day thinking about how to lay my cards on the table. If I directly said, "I know you have an alt account," she would throw both me and my phone out of the balcony. If I questioned her, "Are you calm and casual passerby?" she would flatly deny it and delete the account on the spot to destroy all evidence. If I showed her the screenshot, she would claim it was a coincidence, that she didn't remember the winter melon soup nickname, and that I was overthinking. This woman's combat power in denying things is probably just as strong as her combat power when scolding people in the comments section. I needed a way that wouldn't give her any time to run away. I thought about it all day, while working, during meetings. I didn't even hear He Chang when he spoke to me. He asked me, "Brother Hao, why are you so distracted today?" I said I was thinking about a technical problem. He asked what technical problem it was, and I said, how to make a stubborn-mouthed person admit her soft heart. He looked utterly baffled. What kind of technology is that? I replied, it is the hardest technology in the world. Returning home in the evening, Lu Ruyan was in the bedroom. I sat on the living room sofa and opened the comments section of that street interview video. Using my own account, I typed 2 lines, "The person downstairs who always spoke up for me, I know who you are. You have helped me so many times. But what I want to ask most is, what were you thinking on the day you registered that account?" After posting, I put the phone on the coffee table, went into the kitchen, and poured a glass of water, pretending to drink. In reality, I was straining my ears to listen for any movement. My heart rate must have been around 180, and the hand holding the water cup was trembling. What if she didn't see it? What if she saw it but pretended not to? What if she just deleted her account and ran away? I had imagined 100 worst-case scenarios, but I never anticipated the situation unfolding right now. The living room was silent for about 30 seconds. Then, a sharp clack came from the bedroom, the sound of a phone dropping to the floor. Immediately after came the sound of footsteps, quickening from a fast walk to a run. Lu Ruyan rushed out of the bedroom, her face deathly pale. When she saw me standing by the kitchen door, her face turned red, then pale, then red again. The speed of her changing expressions was faster than a traffic light. You, since when? 3 days ago. You saw everything? I read it, and she took a sharp breath. 100 messages, exactly 100 messages. I also read that 800-word one, the essay format was quite professional. 3 minutes and 52 seconds, that message from He Chang was sent because I asked him to. Lu Ruyan closed her eyes. I watched her expression transition through 5 stages: shock, embarrassment, anger, wanting to cry, and wanting to hit someone, finally settling on hitting someone. I started to run, and she chased me once around the left of the sofa, then once around the right of the coffee table. Brother Hao, you intentionally set a trap for me. Scientific experiment my foot. To prove it, you had He Chang send that message just to bait me, didn't you? Weren't you already there in 3 minutes and 52 seconds? Shut up, look at you now, you've typed 3 exclamation marks, just like your very first comment. Brother Hao, now it's 4, 1 more than the first comment. She was truly desperate. On the 3rd lap, she suddenly stopped, standing right in the middle of the living room, no longer running, her back to me, her shoulders trembling. I also stopped, not daring to move. She wasn't angry, her voice came from the front, muffled as if muffled by something. Did you see that earliest message? I saw it. Silence. Did you check the date of that day? Ah, after a long silence, he finally turned around. His eyes were red, but he didn't cry. He pursed his lips into a tight line, stubborn as if he was struggling with himself. You asked me what I was thinking when I registered that account? I'll tell you. He looked straight at me. In the winter of our sophomore year, the ground in front of the cafeteria was covered in ice. A delivery uncle slipped and fell, takeout food containers scattering all over. Everyone walked around him to avoid the mess. I watched, not knowing what he was going to say. But you ran over to help him up and helped him gather the food containers. Most of your own food was spilled, so you shared half of the remaining with him. That night, you went back to the dorm and went hungry. I was stunned. I had absolutely no recollection of this. You don't remember, do you? His voice softened slightly. I knew you wouldn't remember. You never keep track of the good things you do. But from that day on, I started paying attention to you. I secretly watched you for a very long time, so long that I felt I wasn't even myself anymore. Later, when you pursued me, I was insanely happy, but I didn't dare to accept. I softly asked, why? His voice grew even quieter. Because I thought you were just acting on a whim. You are such a good person, what if you realize everything in 2 years and stop liking me? That's why I rejected you. I wanted to see how long you could persist, but then people started gossiping about you. At the very beginning, she paused for a moment. I couldn't stand it, so I registered that account. I couldn't face you and speak up for you, as I was still rejecting you back then. Speaking up would mean admitting it. But I couldn't bear to hear others speak ill of you. She sniffled, then raised her head to look straight at me. Brother How, do you always think you are the only one hopelessly in love? I am far crazier than you. I stood frozen in place, piecing those moments together in my mind. In the winter of our sophomore year, she started noticing me because of what happened at the cafeteria entrance. After that, I pursued her for a whole 6 months. Every time I was rejected, I wondered if she truly didn't like me. There were a few times I almost gave up. Once, I stood under the dormitory building for half an hour. Holding the milk tea I bought for her, in the end, I didn't go up. The next day, when I met her in the cafeteria, she glanced at me and said nothing. That night, the account Common Casual Passerby probably went under some post to argue with people on my behalf again. Yet back then, standing under the building, I thought I was the only one hurting in this world. If I had truly given up, I would never have known that in a place out of my sight, an account named Common Casual Passerby had stood by my side. I walked over and embraced her. Lou Ruyan stiffened for a moment, then whispered in a very low voice, if you dare to tell anyone about this. I won't. I paused for a second and continued, but these 100 strengths, I've saved them. She struggled in my arms for a moment but couldn't break free. I agree with number 23, sneezing indeed makes you look like a cat. Brother How, shut up. I also agree with number 7, the scrambled eggs with tomatoes I cook are indeed delicious, even though you said they were just passable to my face. Shut up. Number 63 is also quite interesting, eating spicy food makes the tip of your nose red like a strawberry. Are you sure about that? She punched my chest. Just how many of them did you read? 100, not missing a single one. I looked down at her. Every single one is wonderful. Her fist was still pressed against my chest, but her strength had already faded. You of all people. She mumbled. The sound was so soft that I couldn't hear it clearly. What was that? I said, why didn't you find out sooner? I thought for a moment, probably because your acting skills are just too good. She hit me again, but this time she didn't run away. She pushed away from my embrace, walked over to sit on the sofa, tapped her phone a few times, and then turned the screen to show me the account deletion confirmation page. I was stunned for a moment. You're going to delete your account? No need. Why? He stared at that confirmation button for a very long time, so long that the screen went dark, and he touched it again to light it up. Finally, he pressed the confirmation button, then looked at me. his expression returning to its usual calm as if nothing major had happened, but the corners of his eyes were still slightly red. Because if anyone says anything bad about you in the future, his voice was gentle and casual, in true Lou Ruyan fashion, I will scold them right to their face. I looked at him. He wasn't laughing, he was serious. 4 years of silent protection ended with this sentence. Starting today, the common casual passerby has retired, and the official Lou Ruyan has officially gone live. To be honest, I feel the fighting power of the latter will be much stronger. Because when scolding someone to their face, he can also conveniently pinch me. I picked up my phone, changed the wallpaper, and set it to a screenshot of the street interview video from that day. The image froze at the moment he told the camera that he saved money for his wife to spend. He saw it and fell silent for 2 seconds. Are you sick? Yeah, caught it from my wife. Don't you find it embarrassing? No, anyway, someone wrote a whole 100 argumentative essays, so I don't find it embarrassing at all. He raised his hand, pretending to hit me. I laughed and dodged, but she didn't chase me. She just murmured softly, rule number 101. I turned around. She wasn't looking at me, her eyes fixed on her phone screen, her voice so low it was almost inaudible. She knew all my secrets, yet she never mocked me. The next day, I posted a status update with no picture, just one line, correction, my wife says she is not hopelessly in love. 3 seconds later, Lou Ruyan commented, I am not. Her best friend Shin Yuchu commented, you are. He Chang replied, both of you are crazy. I smiled and locked my screen, then noticed that Lou Ruyan's profile cover photo had changed. I clicked in to take a look. It was a screenshot of the post, My Husband's 100 Merits. Only the title was captured with no extra text. The post could no longer be opened because the account had been deleted, but the title remained. Those 100 merits once existed, the 4-year-old alt account once existed, the dispatch speed of 3 minutes and 52 seconds once existed. The 800-word essay with 3 exclamation marks, and the progress bar dragged back to rewatch in the dead of night, all truly existed. The person who, in places I couldn't see, fought against the whole world for me, is now sitting right next to me, using her foot. Holding the remote control, I muttered to myself, why isn't there a single entertaining show? It's just like yesterday, and surely every day after will be the same. Just then, my mother-in-law called. Lou Ruyan answered, her voice quite loud. I clearly heard her final words, Mom, don't worry, I am very happy. After saying that, she glanced at me quickly before turning her head away. I smiled to myself, she was just talking nonsense, who would actually believe that? I took the remote control to help her change the channel. She glared at me and said, why are you suddenly being so attentive? But as she reached out to take the remote, her fingertips gently brushed against the back of my hand. She paused for a second, yet she didn't pull her hand back at all. The TV was broadcasting some random show. She leaned her head slightly, resting it gently on my shoulder. A minute later, she murmured, in the future, if you do street interviews again. She went silent for 2 seconds before adding, then you should say you're earning money to give to your wife to spend. I looked down at her, but she didn't look back. Her eyes remained glued to the TV screen, though her ears had already blushed completely red. I teased, didn't you say earlier that it was just nonsense? Blushing, she snapped, shut up. I didn't argue back, but I didn't say anything either. I simply switched the remote back to the channel she had intentionally skipped earlier. On the screen, that street interview video started playing again. This time, she didn't change the channel, and neither did I.